Some days, it might feel like the weight of the world is settling in a little closer. This is 10 Better Minutes, a podcast sharing a few recent real stories that offer a quieter, more balanced look at what is happening beyond the usual headlines. It is not about ignoring the hard parts of life, but about noticing moments of steady kindness and unexpected support that too often go unnoticed. For the next few minutes, you will hear about the kind of good that moves forward, even when it is not the loudest story around. We will begin with one about a young pianist in Aurora whose talent found its way out into the world with the help of a stranger's gift. In Aurora, a simple forgotten object helped reveal an extraordinary talent. Jude Kofi was 9 years old when he first discovered what he could do on a mock ebony and ivory electric keyboard that had been sitting unused in a basement, forgotten for years. One day, the local attention found him through the story in the paper, and a local piano tuner named Bill Magnuson decided to see for himself. Magnuson went to a talent show, watched Jude play, and described him as Mozart level. That kind of assessment comes with a choice, and he made one that was both practical and personal. Using money from his family inheritance, Bill Magnuson spent $15,000 on a brand new grand piano. He also arranged a program of professional lessons and promised lifetime tuning, not as a one-time gesture, but as ongoing support for the instrument that would carry Jude forward. What I love most about this story is how community turns potential into something real. Jude moved from a young prodigy to a touring pianist with his own album by age 14. And while the music is the headline, the quiet backbone is the decision of one person to step in, stay involved, and believe early talent deserves real tools. It is a reminder that trust in people can sound like a piano bench being offered, a piano being delivered, and a future being tuned into place. It is strange how hope can look like something very practical. A notebook, a rescue plan, a new piece of space designed for people to feel safe. Across the week, the good work kept arriving in many forms. In Australia, Bug Hunt has reached more than 1 million observations since October 2025, powered by citizen scientists and biosecurity experts who also responded when an invasive Asian honeybee was spotted near Brisbane. Along the southeastern coast of the Otago Peninsula, New Zealand expanded protection with 5 new marine reserves, together totaling 308 square kilometers, and made room for wildlife to stay where it belongs. Community action even shows up on the body and in the quiet hours of care. Emily Morrison holds a Guinness World Record for the most shark tattoos, a reminder that fascination can become advocacy. On Cape Cod, Susan Bohr and Old Ladies Against Underwater Garbage have worked for 8 years to estimate removing 6,000 pounds of trash from ponds, turning neighborhood attention into cleaner water and calmer days. And in Berlin, a 72-unit apartment complex was designed exclusively for LGBTQ+ women, strengthening community through thoughtful infrastructure rather than waiting for permission. None of these efforts need to be grand to be real. They add up. They invite more people to look closer, to organize, and to keep building small improvements that feel steady, not sudden. Sometimes the smallest moments of kindness show up right when the day feels most unsettled, and this story in Utah is exactly that. Casey Pettis, a contractor from St. George, Utah, was driving toward Cedar City on Wednesday when the weather turned worse, and he noticed a slow tire leak. He kept going on Interstate 15, but then lightning struck his truck. Electrical power vanished, smoke rose from the dashboard and the passenger side, and he had to steady himself, guide the vehicle to the shoulder, and get out quickly. He grabbed only his phone, wallet, and keys before the truck was engulfed in flames. When the dust settled, his tools, worth thousands of dollars, were destroyed, the kind you need for the work that keeps families moving forward. In that moment of worry, his 9-year-old son stepped in with something simple and brave. The boy had been saving cash for a dirt bike by running a neighborhood trash can service, taking bins to the curb and back. He offered his entire stack of savings to help replace the tools. Casey accepted the help in a different way. He declined the money, saying insurance would cover the loss, but he did not decline the feeling. He described being deeply loved and enjoying a quiet warmth that stayed with him long after the emergency ended. It is a reminder that generosity does not always look big. Sometimes it starts as a child believing love is practical. Sometimes the difference between falling back into old patterns and stepping into something new can be as simple as having the right support at the right time. Jody Witt knew the rhythm of the Shawnee County Jail all too well. Over more than 20 years, she spent anxious hours waiting for intake and release, then leaving without a real bridge back to stable life. When freedom came with uncertainty, she also carried the temptation of promises that never lasted. But her story shifts into hope when Intersection to Care takes shape inside the jail, guided by a Rotary Club and supported through a global foundation grant. The program brings mentorship classes along with health and art therapies and even supportive housing and doula services so women are not trying to start over alone. Jody joined that effort and later became the person who could bring connection in practical ways. She taught technology classes for newly released women, helping them connect to safe housing and the next steps that make stability possible. Mentors meet at least once a week with trauma-informed training, and the support does not end at the gate. Since 2022, Intersection to Care has assisted more than 1,000 women, and more than 75 have been supported through housing. It is a reminder that reentry is not just a process you survive. With people who show up consistently, it can become a path you choose. There are moments when help feels impossibly far away, and still someone finds a way to act with steadiness. Today's story is one of courage, ordinary knowledge, and a hopeful outcome against long odds. Ines Ramirez, a 40-year-old mother of 9 in rural Oaxaca, Mexico, went into her 7th pregnancy at home. Labor did not progress, the baby would not descend, and the situation quickly became frightening. With no hospital nearby and no other adult in the room to take charge, she faced a choice that no parent should ever have to make. When the need turned urgent, Ramirez performed an emergency cesarean herself, cutting into her belly and delivering her baby using an approach meant to give the child a chance. Afterward, she stayed focused even as exhaustion and shock pressed in. She directed one of her children to find her cousin, a local health assistant, to close the wound and help coordinate the next steps. Her cousin used a sewing needle and cotton thread to stitch her abdomen, then drove her 2.5 hours to a clinic. From there, transport continued for another 8 hours to a hospital, where doctors repaired her uterus and abdomen about 16 hours after the home surgery. In the end, Ramirez healed well, and both she and her newborn survived. What stays with me is how hope can look practical. Even when you cannot control distance or timing, you can still choose the next right action, and sometimes that choice carries 2 lives forward. As always, I have a wonderful tip for you to help with your mental reset and find a little more steadiness in your day. Today, we are talking about using one small pause between work stress and home life, so the tension does not automatically follow you through the door. Here's the simple idea. Right when you finish work, before you answer a message, start the car, grab the keys, or walk into your house, stop for just a moment. 30 seconds is enough. Maybe you even do it while you are standing up from your desk. Take one slow breath in, then breathe out like you are setting something down. Then ask yourself a quiet question. What part of work am I carrying right now? You are not trying to erase your day. You are just giving your nervous system a clear signal that the scene is changing. That pause creates a boundary, even if you cannot change what happened at work. After that, choose one intentional action that belongs to home. Put your bag down gently, drink a glass of water, feel your feet on the floor for 10 seconds. Then, when you speak to your family or partner, your tone has room to be present. One small pause, and a calmer start. Well, friends, we have reached the end of today's 10 Better Minutes episode, and I'm glad you made a little space for it. If the world has felt heavy lately, I hope these quiet, practical reminders stay with you. Not as a fantasy, but as proof that people still choose decency, care, and common sense. If you have something hopeful to share, please leave a comment with a link to a good news story or a local positive thing you have seen so others can find it too. This is Ian Rhodes with 10 Better Minutes, so take care, and I will see you tomorrow.